Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Talking Tunes, episode 2. We actually stuck through with it. I didn't expect that.
Shocking.
I
I
know.
know.
I know. It's crazy. I'm Tony.
I think we're the most surprised about that. And I'm Kevin, aka the Shakeable Hand Warmer.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm listening to a lot of Little Dicky. So, you know how he does all the AKA things? Like
Yes.
AKA, Mr. Leftward Sloping Penis.
Yes.
For some reason, I just wanted to do that. So when I was watching the Super Bowl on Sunday, I just wrote like literally 50 of them. And there's like 3 of them that I think are funny. So I'm going to sprinkle those in every now and
God damn it. Okay.
then. There's
All right.
literally like 60 here. I
Nice.
have a list on my phone.
Good.
I think it's funny, but
All right.
nobody else.
So, this is Talking Tunes, the show where two dudes sit around and pretend that our opinions on music actually matter. And today, we're talking about punk music.
Yes, the punk rock block.
Yes. Which I'm sure will be just opening us up for plenty of criticism because our bands today are Green Day, Rise Against, and Blink 182, and labeling those as punk gets some people in a tizzy.
Yeah, but you know, right? We're American, free speech. We can say what we want about it. People can say what we want about it. You know,
Yeah, fuck the man, right?
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Are you in
But
the mood?
well,
Get in the mood.
you're right. The fuck. I'm totally wrong. You're right. The fuck the man is the pop or not pop, the punk rock motto. So yes, fuck the man.
Damn right. Okay. And with that, on the docket today, we're gonna be talking about Green Day's new album, Revolution Radio. Then our main thing today, we're going to be talking about Rise Against, one of our favorite bands.
The
And
George
then
R. R. Martin of punk rock.
yes. And finally, we're going to talk about Blink 182's new album cuz that's a thing. And yeah, should we just get right into it, Kevin?
I think we start off. Other than those couple things, what have you been listening to recently?
I've been listening to a lot of prog rock recently. I've just been in the mood for it. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah. Lots of uh not a lot of, a little bit of Rush, some Children of Nova, which for anyone who doesn't, that's a band that existed for like 5 years in what was it like
Was it
around
5 years?
2010 maybe.
I'd say it's like 3 years,
It was
if
short-lived is the
that.
point, but
They were short lived,
very
but
good.
good while they were around.
Yeah, you should check them out. And I've been trying to actually go through Coheed and Cambria because I never actually was like
Really?
a huge fan of them. I listened
Are
to
they
Welcome
prog
Home a
rock?
lot. They are considered prog, apparently.
Huh.
Yeah, they have this whole overarching story thing. I was reading something about it on Reddit the other day, and it intrigued me. So I've been going through that slowly. So maybe we'll talk about that on a later episode. But
Interesting. I'll have to keep that in my back pocket because, like you said, the only Coheed and Cambria I've ever really listened to was Welcome Home, and that's
right,
because of Rock Band.
exactly, and it's a fantastic song. But pretty much
It is an
everything
incredible song.
they've put out is really solid. I'm really enjoying it. So I would highly recommend it. What have you been listening to other than Lil
I've
Dicky?
been listening. Other than Little Dicky? All
Yeah.
right. Well, the most recent things that I have and I recently played for Spotify are Professional Rapper by Little Dicky, my Discover Weekly playlist, which is finally not broken and flooded with covers of the song "Hello" by Adele. That was a
It's
thing
about
for like
time. Yeah.
4 weeks. God, like I like one Hello cover, and then for the next 4 weeks I get a different cover. I'm like, I don't actually like the song. I just like the way that Dayseeker covered it.
Yeah, the
But
Dayseeker
that's
cover is really solid.
that's something else for another day.
Of course.
Got some Rise Against on there, prepping for this show.
Of course.
Not fully, but we'll get into that.
We'll talk
Um,
about your failures later.
yeah. Revolution Radio, California. I went back to some Beartooth because they were talking about it, last week,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to get back into it because, like, I was feeling really fighty this morning. Like, I just wanted to be really confrontational with somebody, and I feel like listening to that helped.
That's
I don't know, it
fair.
was weird.
Yeah, it does
And then
that.
some other playlists that I had.
Nice. And on that note, are you ready to get into it?
Yeah, should be. Nothing
Sweet.
else I wanted to bring up beforehand.
No? Good. All right, Revolution Radio then. What are your thoughts?
We talked about this for the briefest of seconds before we started recording, and I think we both
Yes.
had the same eh, kind of. That wasn't a sex thing, but the same kind of feeling towards it.
Yeah. Um, I the thing is I was never a huge Green Day fan. So it's
Neither
not
was
really.
neither was I. Like I like the classic like American Idiot, Boulevard of Broken Dreams,
Yeah,
21 Guns,
of
Wake Me Up When
course.
September Ends.
Yes. And I listened to a lot of Dookie for a little bit in high school cuz I thought that album was great and it has Welcome to Paradise on it. And that's like some of the best. That's one of my favorite drum parts in any song. But other than that, I
Dookie,
was.
I think Dookie is widely considered to be their best.
Yeah, I've heard that. Um, but I'm not enough of a Green Day fan to be like, oh yeah, totally. So
Nor am I.
right, and it's I don't know. Revolution Radio is it's not bad. It's just very um I don't get that into it. And that's kind of a problem I've had with a lot of Green Day albums. So I'm not really surprised that I feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not the biggest Green Day fan, and from all that I have heard, it's just a lot of the same, and it just didn't really do anything for me. It didn't girdle my loins, if you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. That said, I actually really I really really like Still Breathing off this album though.
See, I feel like when I listened to it, I didn't, I just like had it on while I was like doing homework or something, and like nothing really like stuck out to me enough to like look at my phone and be like, oh, what's the name of that one? I'll go back to that one. I think the only one I could think of that was like that was Youngblood, but I could be getting it wrong.
Possibly. I don't know. I'm not in your brain, so.
I don't know. I'd have to listen to it again, but
Yeah, I got you.
yeah, it's
It is pretty
yeah,
telling that there's not a single point where you said, "Ooh, what track is this?"
yeah. There might have been like one or two, but it was just like I might have seen it while I was checking my phone for Snapchat notifications or something.
Yeah, definitely. Um, did you recognize Bang Bang, right?
I think so.
Because
Yeah.
it's a single. What do
I
you think of
yeah. I
that
think
one?
I think I recommend that one. Um, it was okay. I mean, I think the whole album was kind of they're all consistent fives. Nothing
I
really,
got you.
nothing really like stands out. Nothing's awful.
I get what you're saying. I mostly agree with you, except I do think Bang Bang's really good. Um, Granted, that's not saying it's nothing new because it's a single, so of course, like you'd expect most people to enjoy it. And
Exactly.
I
Well,
really
they
like
at
Still
least
Breathing. Yeah,
they at least had the confidence to put it out as a single. So
right. So it must be relatively good. And I actually don't know what the general reaction among like actual Green Day fans is though. I would be curious to see what people who listen to a lot of Green Day actually do think. Because as people who don't, obviously, we're like, it's fine. I wouldn't be upset if someone put it on in the car.
yeah, it's one of those that like I wouldn't actively seek out, but like you said, if somebody put it on, I wouldn't be like, oh God, change it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think they're pretty catchy. I think Bang Bang's pretty catchy. Um, but eh, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just it's just kind of there.
Yeah, which I'm a little disappointed for it to be because it was kind of supposed to be a big deal. I feel um, like when Bang Bang got released, it was I get stuck listening to the radio on a fairly regular basis just because in the city nothing comes in except for the alternative station, and so I listened to that a lot, and they hyped it up like crazy.
Really.
And so when it was coming out, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome, like new Green Day, whatever. Because at that point, I kind of listened to a decent amount of Green Day, and I pretty much have the ones I like on my phone at this point, and I really like those because obviously I liked them enough to like put them in my playlist and everything. So I hear those a lot. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome, and I went back and listened to all the stuff that I did enjoy, and then the album came out, and I sat down and listened to it, and like halfway through, I was like, this kind of doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I got you. I know where you're coming from on that. I quick Googled Revolution Radio review, and from Pitchfork.com, I don't know if that's reputable or anybody really knows what that is, but there's a review for it, and it got by Brad Nelson. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but it got a 5.1. I'm assuming out of 10, and the little like blurb at the top of the review is over the course of 26 years, Green Day have gone from pop punks to rock stars. Their latest, however, has little effect on their legacy and lapses into pandering, embarrassing lyrical misfires. So, it looks like, at least from that one guy's
From our
perspective,
sample
it's
size
kind
of
of
one.
from our sample size of one.
Yeah, yeah, I would be curious to see uh, what the overall reception is among not critics, basically.
Oh, Metacritic. I could look that up
Oh, there
because
you go.
that's the one that compiles everything, right?
Yep,
The Metacritic Metascore is 72 based on 29 critics, and the user score is 7.9 based on 163 ratings.
that's, I mean, that's pretty decent.
Yeah,
It's like it's fine.
I mean it's almost a B minus
Yeah, almost.
by the user score anyway.
Right. Well, all right. Yeah, I mean, it's not really fair for us to um lay into it too much. Just like as not Green Day fans, it's hard for us to be like, oh, they changed, or oh, it's just more Green Day, because
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. There's no back in my day when I talk about Green Day because Green Day wasn't my day.
no, Green Day's a little before us, which I
Yeah,
I'm a little disappointed
I
that
know.
it is, because
Yeah, I mean American Idiot came out in like '04, I think.
it sounds mostly correct. Um, yeah, oh four.
Yeah, so what, we were 9 years old, fourth
Yeah,
grade.
exactly.
I
Which
don't
is like,
necessarily think we were, you know, listening to Green Day walking
no,
around fourth grade.
yeah. We basically started listening to American Idiot in middle school because a few people with older siblings had the album on their iPod. It's pretty much like what happened. Weren't there when it got released, and I kind of wished we were, because I think that uh would have been cool to like see it like a Green Day concert or like a Blink 182 concert. That's like the golden age of like pop punk and everything. So it would have been sweet to kind of grow up then. But
Yeah, I
you know,
think I think my sister listened to American Idiot. My sister, for those of you listening, is 6 years older than I am. So, she was. I think she was right about like 15 when that came out. So,
that's
I
like the
think I think
perfect
that would
age
have been
for it.
like the sweet spot for that. I feel like I saw the American Idiot like album on like one of those giant stacks of CDs that she had in her room.
Yeah, exactly.
Because yeah, like the album art always looked familiar the first time I actually like, oh, what is this, like, with a functioning knowledge of I like music,
Yeah, which doesn't really
like this looks
happen till
familiar.
probably like sixth grade, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
We'll get into
I,
that in a little bit,
yeah,
though.
yeah. I didn't. Yeah, like I didn't functionally start getting into like, oh, music is a thing that I like to do until Guitar Hero 3, which coincidentally started with the Prayer of the Refugee from Rise Against.
Ooh, what a perfect segue.
Ba-boom!
So, Rise Against, Kevin. Why don't you fill everyone in?
All right, Rise Against, one of our favorite bands, I'd say, is
For sure.
definitely, at least for me, a lot of their songs have had some sort of impact to me, at least, like, for some personal reasons I don't necessarily get into, but some of their songs have like really had some impact on me, and like I remember it was freshman year of high school. appeal to reason, I would just listen to that shit over and over again,
Hmm.
like the entirety of second semester. I think I listened to it probably, no joke, at least 100 times front to back.
I'd believe it. Yeah,
Uh,
it was they. I think it's because their peak. I feel like was sort of like I feel like they peaked at from the Suffer and the Witness, which was 2006, to Endgame, which is 2011. Like
exactly. So
just
that's right when our wheelhouse. Like
oh
if
yeah,
you took Green Day and just like shifted it up like 10 years.
yeah, as our formative years. Like
Yeah, exactly.
especially when it comes to our taste in music and everything. So it
Exactly. I would venture to say that Rise Against and A Day to Remember were the two bands that really formed my taste and what I enjoy now. Even though I necessarily don't like listen to Rise Against or A Day to Remember for that matter every day, like they
no.
still shape what I like.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would agree. Um, do we want to start talking about the albums? Should we go through all of them?
Yeah, we can do that. Like we alluded to earlier, I didn't necessarily go through all the correct, you know, research and preparation is what I'm looking for.
To be
I
fair,
kind of
we are
skipped out on the first two.
yeah, but we're recording 2 days earlier than we're supposed to be
You
due
know,
to
to,
scheduling
to,
conflicts.
to date the video, it is February 7th.
Yes, way to go. Now no one's gonna listen to it.
I know. What if Rise Against releases a new album tomorrow?
We're gonna look like real assholes.
Yeah, for real though.
Eh, it's fine. We're too we're talking about our opinions on the internet. I think that inherently makes us assholes.
Yeah, but I've never said I'm not an asshole. So
Exactly. So, start out. Um, well, the reason we're talking about Rise Against today is Kevin and I were talking, and we were talking about how they haven't released anything in a while.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah, Black Market was the last one they had, and that was 2014. I want to say probably mid-year. I want to say because I feel like I listened to the first song I really heard was "I Don't Want to Be Here Anymore,"
Hmm.
and I feel like I heard that on the radio when I was delivering for Jimmy John's, which is probably in the summer.
Let's see. July 15th. Good call.
God, I am
Dude,
on
that
it
is
today.
just on point. That's impressive.
I'm so good at everything.
that's that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah. There's literally nothing you can say to bring me down.
We'll see.
Give me one example, audience. See, they didn't do
Yeah,
it. They can't
no,
do
they
it.
didn't. Yeah. Dude, all those
Like I
listeners.
said, I was real fighty today. So
Yeah, I can tell. It's good. It got you in the mood.
exactly,
um,
it's all the punk rock, man.
yeah, for sure. And so so Black Market came out almost. We're coming up on 3 years now, and there's been
hmm
kind of nothing from them. And apparently they're still touring. We talked about this a little bit last week. But they're touring with Linkin Park apparently, and they're kind of like special
Which
guests.
which I think we both agreed was kind of weird.
Yeah, I was reading through the comments on their website on the post where they announced the tour with Linkin Park, and all the comments are like, "Oh, why Linkin Park?" Which of course I thought was hysterical. Um, but they were just constantly. It's just, "Oh man, fine, I guess I'll get tickets." I was like, "This is the most reluctant I've seen anybody to go to a concert." It's so weird, but I really think it doesn't fit. Um, because I don't dislike Linkin Park. I listened to a lot of Linkin Park, uh, especially in high school and stuff. But I don't. When I think of Rise Against, I don't imagine them touring with Linkin Park. So
Yeah, when I think Linkin Park to me was always the epitome of every song sounds the same.
absolutely,
Like even more so than like what Nickelback became.
hell yeah, dude.
Like all Linkin Park sounded the same, and like it was they had a good song. It's just that song turned into everything they did. So like I don't know. I never really got on board Linkin Park train.
Yeah, I like when I was young and angsty, I definitely listened to a lot of it. I don't. I still enjoy it. If
Yeah,
it comes on, I'm like, you know, I'll throw up a fist, but it's it's fine. I don't seek it out. But anyway, back to the topic. I hope we hear more from Rise Against soon because like I really want more from them. But let's go through their albums.
Yeah, I especially back to that point. I hope they come with something soon because I feel like this is the biggest reason I want them back. They could write a kick-ass protest song album
Oh
for
yeah,
what like times we're living in right now.
for sure.
Like they could own that, and I feel like that's why I'd be the most excited if they're like we're working on stuff. 'Cause I feel like
Right.
their protest song, especially because they're like big into like environment, right?
Hmm.
And with all that stuff going on, like I feel like they could kill it right now
I'm sure they have
with
some things to say. Yeah.
yeah
And I have a couple more points about that I want to bring up a little later, but let's go through the albums before we just gush over Rise Against for an hour and a half.
yeah
Um, so starting with the Unraveling, which
yes the first of my failed responsibilities.
yes, um, overall, I mean this is their first album, so they have a very um sort of uh like undeveloped sound, I think. You can definitely like hear the Rise Against in the album, but overall it's a weird album because there's lots of really short songs on it. Like if you take a look at it on Spotify, most of the songs are under 3 minutes. I mean,
Really,
yeah, it's an album that has 18 songs on it and is only 40 minutes long.
hmm.
Like that's kind of crazy, and it just feels like almost like a lot of unfinished songs, and I think that's what I kind of don't like about it. It's like every time you feel like you're getting into the song, it sort of ends, and it's really disappointing. And the songs that I do like on it, track 5, 401 Kill, is really good. I really enjoyed that one. And track 11, which is Ever Changing, is also I think phenomenal. But a lot of the songs are just like a minute and a half, and then they stop, and it's
Yeah,
a little disappointing.
I flipped through the songs like the times, and you're right. Like there's like 3 minutes, 3:15, then like a minute 15, a minute 30, a minute 45, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, a minute 15. That's that's a
Yeah,
little strange.
it's averaging just over 2 minutes. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, that's weird. But I guess if it's your first album, again, like I said, I didn't listen to it, so
Hmm.
I couldn't necessarily speak with absolute certainty here. But maybe it's more like a shoot out a shotgun of all the different sounds you think you could do, and figure out which ones are what people are digging on, and then reel
Hmm.
those in, refine them, and the next one is where you really start developing.
Yeah, and that's actually the vibe I get from it. Like, it feels like an album of demos, which is fine. I mean, they're good demos. I just wish that they were more full songs.
You just wish that they like developed the ideas a little bit more before they threw
Yeah,
it out there.
yeah, because a lot of them are really good. It's just kind of like they don't end up anywhere, which stinks. Um, so from there, we head on to Revolutions Per Minute, which was released in 2003. This is Kevin's second failure, by the way,
Yes, of the day.
of the day. We're off to a good start. Um, RPM, only the 10th anniversary reissue is on Spotify. So if you're looking for it, it's called RPM 10. Um, but I think RPM is really good. Um, when I first heard it a couple times. Like when I started listening to Rise Against, and I was like, it's okay, And the more I've listened to it, the more it's just grown on me. And there are so many songs on there that are just really awesome. Specifically, like the Angel is very good.
I feel like that one I've heard.
Uh, yeah, I'd be
Look,
surprised if you haven't.
looking through the titles, they look familiar and they look like ones that I've heard, but I couldn't like sing any for you.
I would bet that you would recognize them if they got played. Especially, you remember back when we used like Pandora for everything?
Yeah, for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Um,
I only got on Pandora for like 2 weeks.
that's true. You
And
bought
like
music for the longest time.
I I bought music up until the point where Mike's like, let me just give you Spotify. I'm like,
That sounds
okay.
about right.
There's just something about like owning music. Like this is mine. You can't take it from me. Like I bought this. Like if Spotify disappeared, like
I'd
it'd
have
be
to sign
fucked.
up
But
for
like
a different service.
yeah, but
No,
like
I
I
get your
had
point.
yeah.
I
And I didn't know
like
you could download songs on Spotify.
right. I like the physical albums, but even that gets a little pricey. And when you're, you know, a broke student, what are you gonna do? But anyway,
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a physical like album thing for me. I don't think I've bought a CD in many years. It's just
damn.
something about owning owning it. You know.
Yeah.
What was the last song CD that I bought? Let me think about that.
You think about that. I'm gonna keep
Actually,
talking about.
I think the last physical CD I got, thinking about it, was Bring Me the Horizon, which I think you gave me for Christmas.
I did.
I think that's the last like physical CD that I had.
Yeah.
Other
Coincidentally,
than
also
the
their last good album, but we're not talking about them.
it's a song. It's a story for a different day.
Topic for a different day. Yeah. Um, bring it back to Rise Against. And RPM. Like I was saying, Like the Angels really good. Blood Red, White and Blue is really good. Broken English is really good, and Torches is really good. Um, and then RPM 10 actually has all the demo versions of the song as well, which is kind of cool. But it's a really solid album, and they're really I think they do a really good job of being like a punk band in this album, which makes sense because if you think about what was going on at the time and the fact that this is like 2000 to 2008 era, which is that's Bush, and punk was kind of there's plenty to protest about back then, and not that I want to get
Yeah,
political in
there
our
was a bit of a
first
revival.
exactly, and I don't want to get political, but that's hard to avoid in a when we're
In a
talking about
discussion
punk
of punk
music.
rock,
Yeah, exactly. It's
or modern punk rock, we'll say.
right, and it's just you can see they released so many albums from 2000 to 2008. I mean, their first 5 albums are all during the Bush administration. So
That's true.
yeah, and there's a lot of really, there's just a lot of really good songs on it, and so uh, I feel like there's a change that happens later. Uh,
Let me ask you this though: would you
yeah.
say any of what's on the Unraveling or RPM is protesty, or is it?
Um, some of them I think kind of are. The thing is, I think Rise Against is um they kind of they don't get very in your face about their protesting or like the protestiness of their songs, I think.
I would say Endgame has certainly a couple songs that have a clear message.
Oh, yeah, no, they have a clear message, but they I
That's more what I meant. Like not like protesty, like we're
oh,
gonna go out and riot, but like Rise Against. We have a clear message of what the song is trying to say. Like we have an opinion on this.
yeah. Um yeah, I think some of the earlier ones definitely do. The Unraveling I'm not really sure on that one, but RPM like Blood Red, White and Blue, I think is I think that one's pretty protesty. Torches is pretty protesty, and Black Masks and Gasoline is pretty protesty. So, but admittedly, I haven't like I don't know a lot of the lyrics to these earlier ones, just because I'm not, you know, these aren't the albums that I know Rise Against for. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get you.
So
Like I'm the same way. Like I definitely know them for their most recent four.
exactly. Um, that said, RPM's a really good album, and I would actually I was thinking about it. I actually wanted to do some research on the lyrics. Unfortunately, since we're recording early, we didn't really have time to do that. But
Damn you,
definitely,
stats.
I know, right? Definitely something I want to look into though, because some of the earlier songs I think I think there's a message there, but I wasn't able to find it on my one listen through this week. But it's a really solid album, and I would recommend listening to both the first two, for sure.
Yeah, I'll pull them up
Yeah, do it.
in these next couple of days,
Yeah,
and we can talk about it. Not necessarily on the podcast.
yeah. Um, moving on to uh an album we've both listened to, I'm sure many times. Uh,
Oh, I thought you paused because in our little docket thing here we have it, as a little acronym. I thought you just like totally blanked on what it's actually called.
no,
We
it's
have it as
Siren Song of the
SATK.
Counterculture. Sasatk. I do kind of wish I didn't abbreviate it because that one's getting a little long. Um, but Siren Song of the Counterculture, I think, is I think this is definitely where Rise Against kicked off quite a bit.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that one.
Yeah, and I love this album so much. Like every song on this album is just good.
Um, yeah, yeah, I would say all of them are good. There's a couple really good ones.
Hmm.
Swing Life Away, of course,
Oh
excellent.
yeah, I Swing Life Away is one of
Paper
my
Wings
favorite.
also.
Yeah, and Swing Life Away and Paper Wings are actually two of my favorite Rise Against songs. But even then, like Dancing for Rain is really good. Um, I really like Life Less Frightening. It's just I think the whole album top to bottom is really solid.
Yeah, and I think because I started off with the Suffer and the Witness, I definitely went back. I wouldn't say it was my first exposure,
Hmm.
but I'd say it's a solid. It was weird, right? Because I started off Suffering the Witness, and then I went to Siren Song and Counterculture, and it was a weird step because like it's a step back in time, but it's not a step back in sound. If that makes any sense.
I think I get what you're saying, but can you elaborate a bit?
Can I? Um,
Don't get too confident.
it's I don't know. My brain is just frying now for some reason, but I forgot where I'm going.
I think what you're trying to say is like the Rise Against sounds the same in both albums, right? Like they have the Rise
Yes,
Against sound,
yes,
but you're when you go back to Siren Song of the Counterculture, like I think the recording of it's a little dirtier. It's not quite as clean and
yes,
well
yes,
produced as the Sufferer and the Witness,
yes,
and there's a definite like disconnect there. So you go back
yes,
and it
yes,
sounds like this album should be from like 2000,
yes. That
except
is that is exactly what I meant. Like
yeah,
their sound, them sounds the same, but like the quality of it sounds like you're stepping back in time.
yes, I would agree with that actually. I remember I because I also started with Sufferer and the Witness, and I remember thinking it was just so weird listening to some of these songs, and for the longest time because I was still in middle school, maybe early high school when I listened to the album, and I remember thinking, oh, Rise Against must have been around forever. Like it's not like Spotify where I have the album date uh, right at the top of the screen. It was coming up on like a Pandora radio station, and I just assumed the album was like from the 90s. I was very surprised to find out that it's actually their third album and it's actually from 2004. Like
Yeah,
it was very surprising to me because it sounds old, and I actually I don't know if they recorded it differently. Maybe uh, it's different studios. Maybe there's a label change in there, but
that would have been my guess. Is they switched labels
possibly.
or like
Um,
some kind of merge or buyout or something.
right.
I don't know.
I'm
I don't
trying.
know I don't know a detailed history of Rise Against.
No. Trying to see. I think there's different producers. If that makes a difference, I'm not really sure like what causes that difference, but it's just very jarring when you go backwards that way. And now that I've gotten over that weirdness, I love this album. It's I would say it's one of my favorite Rise Against albums, but that's stupid. That's a pointless phrase.
Yeah.
Cuz it's like it's easily in my top, 7. Like actually I could say it's in my top 5, but even that doesn't really narrow it down. Like
Yeah.
I love this album. It's very good.
Yeah. 7.5 out of 10.
I would give it an 8, but I have my Rise Against rankings pretty heavily loaded towards 10, so it's not really. I don't know. I feel like it's pointless to even try and give them any sort of numbers because I just like all of them too much.
Yeah. I just meant as like a
Yeah, no, I
just
get you.
throwing that out there.
I get you.
I wasn't necessarily rating them. Just like
I got you. Um, moving on. Let's talk about the Suffer and the Witness, which I'm sure we both have plenty to say about this.
yeah. So now we're approaching my wheelhouse here or there.
Yes, and this is dangerous because this is where we're gonna have to try and like actually watch ourselves on time because I honestly think we could talk about just this album for an hour. But if I may, I have a story about the Suffer and the Witness because this is what got me into Rise Against.
Go for it.
In fact, I would say it's probably one of the most important albums like in my music quote unquote life. And because when I like okay, let's rewind. I'm I think I was in 5th or 6th grade probably, and you know how in elementary school we talked about this a little bit earlier, but you don't really have a concept of like enjoying music, right?
Right.
You pretty much you listen to what your parents put on in the radio. So I basically listened to like 90s country because that's what my mom listened to, and like dad rock, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like I remember I eventually got an iPod Nano one Christmas, and on it was like Rascal Flats, like Brad Paisley, probably like The Who. It was just like the weirdest mishmash of music, and like there was a lot of stuff on it that I actually enjoyed a lot, but I didn't develop any of my own opinions about any music ever before that. You know,
Right.
it was just like this is what I listen to, I guess, because it's what I know exists, and so eventually I'm at a friend's house, and he says, "Dude, I have a video to show you." I was like, "Okay, whatever." And he pulls up a Prayer of the no, sorry, not Prayer of the Refugee. It's Ready to Fall. It was a Ready to Fall music video, but it was not the Rise Against Ready to Fall music video. It was this guy on YouTube who made music videos using RuneScape, the online game.
Oh, I think I've seen this, and I know what friend you're talking about. I think.
Yes, you should. And it is and I was hooked. I was like, "Holy shit, this is the coolest thing I have ever seen." Because I'm in 6th grade, you know, like at this point, my definitions of cool are like girls and well, girls who talk to me, which admittedly lowers the pool a bit, but
It
that
shortens your sample size.
yeah, and like dragons and maybe robots. It's like so I'm watching this video of this fantastic rock song, a form of music that I've never really listened to before. Not like obviously I've heard rock. My dad listened to rock, but not like current rock.
Yeah,
and
not anything before 1980.
yeah, exactly. And it was just so good. And I went home. I had to convince my parents to let me download the song because the album had an explicit tag on it. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, I had to beg my parents. I was
Because of
like,
"Survive," the last song.
yes, because they say fuck once. And I I remember begging my parents to let me download it, and I was like, "Look, I'll get the clean version. It's got the radio edits on there. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, I won't listen to the bad words and everything." And they let me download it, and that is the moment that I started listening to this. And since then, it's just been the spiral into the various subgenres. But that is the moment that I actually developed my own musical taste, and I will like this will forever be one of my favorite albums for it. You know.
Yeah, I hear you. Like I said, for me, my musical awakening was Guitar Hero 3.
Yeah.
Got it for like Christmas or something on the Wii. It was like the only good thing I can ever thank my Wii for. 'Cause that thing
Hey,
was
Wii Sports is a masterpiece.
I look. This is a music podcast. Maybe sometime down the road on an offshoot, you can start talking about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, Guitar Hero 3, Prayer of the Refugee was one of the extra songs you could buy. I just like went through it and just bought all of them, started playing them. Like a lot of these kind of suck. Then I got to Prayer of the Refugee. I'm like, this rocks. Like it was up to that point I didn't understand what like saying something rocked meant, but like that rocked,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like I think every time I booted up that game for like a solid 3 4 months, that would be the first song I would play. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, because I got an iPod too, like at some point. I'm like, oh shit, like there's more than this. Like it's this song, but like different and just as good. Like what? And
Hmm.
so I like downloaded everything Rise Against at that point. I'm like, well, not everything, but I downloaded all that album, and I'm like, this is awesome.
It's so good. It's such a phenomenal album too. Is the thing. Like,
Yeah, like that. It's a good, it's a good one to come in on.
absolutely. It's there's not a song on this album that I don't like.
Um,
Oh,
I'm just looking through the track list here. I would say the only one I would say I don't necessarily like is the first one, intro slash chamber the cartridge, because it's like
really?
I'm I'm
I
not I'm not a big fan of like, oh, this is the song that leads into it all,
oh,
because then
I
because I always listen to everything on shuffle, so it's like that's weird to come in and like 4 songs in.
that's fair. I I
So
disagree though.
that's not necessarily on the song. It's
Yeah.
on me how I listen to my music.
Yes. And I understand where you how you could come from that or where you're coming from there, but like I think Chamber the Cartridge because it's tied in with the intro cuz they're technically two separate pieces cuz the intro is like that snare thing and then the guy goes this is noise and then the song
Yeah, it's
starts.
like a subway.
Yeah, exactly. And Chamber the Cartridge is like really good by itself. And so it doesn't bother me when it comes on shuffle. It almost feels like the intro to the album. If that intro was 20 seconds long and its own track, I would agree with you. But since it's leads into a full song, it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm putting too much weight on that front little bit of it.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
being said, though, I think like it's a solid. Like the whole album is really good, but there are some that are just like next level good.
yeah,
Like
which
Ready to
which ones do you think
Fall.
those are? Yeah.
I could list like half the album. Ready to Fall, Prairie Refugee. I love the approaching curve.
I was going to say that. I was going to say if you don't mention that one, I'm going to be upset.
Um, Roadside, Good Left Undone,
Mhm.
and Survive.
Yes, I actually the problem is I actually list all of them except for maybe Bricks. Um, but injection is actually just okay for me. Like I enjoy the song, but I wouldn't put it like phenomenal. I love drones because that song has the that's probably like the first quote unquote breakdown I heard. It's not super heavy, but that they do the thing where um in the bridge they're like I won't come but but and to like
Yeah.
7th grade me that was the most badass thing I had ever heard. It was so cool. And every time in my head I'm imagining like like big hair like headbanging on the stage like it was ridiculous. And that I really like Worth Dying For, and Behind Closed Doors has one of my favorite drum fills in it.
Yeah, you and your drums.
Dude, it's a good album though. The whole thing is just solid. And the female voice in Roadside is like really solid, really really good actually. I shouldn't even say solid. That's a um it's not doing it enough or giving her enough credit. I think the female voice in Roadside is really really great.
Who who does the female voice? Is it somebody from a different band? Because she's not like
Let's find
it's
out.
not like Roadside featuring. I was gonna ask you that question while I googled it, so I could tell you the answer in like smart.
Oh, I might beat you to it. Shit, it's not listed uh on Wikipedia. I don't think. Um,
From Reddit, somebody said, "I do believe this Emily Shambra of Holy Roman Empire, as she is the only female backing vocalist credited in the linear notes of the album."
that would probably do it. Either way, I love that duet. I think it's so good. Except the one thing I kind of always expect every time I listened to Roadside, at least like when I first heard it, is I always expected it to like build up, and it just never quite did.
Yeah, but I think it did it in the right way.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
Like it didn't like full on like full on like where it's like straight up gonna like lead up to a breakdown or something. It
Hmm.
just builds in like sound and like complexity of it. It doesn't necessarily build up in like feeling or rhythm.
Yeah, and
So
then
I think it's a different kind of build up.
right, and it
To me at
does.
least anyway.
I think it really does a good job of like. Do you remember in band when the you know uh the conductor would like give you a crescendo and they'd lift up their hand and then they'd stop and he'd be conducting like super small because you're supposed to like bring it way up and then you cut to almost nothing. I think they do a really good job of that in Roadside. Like
Yeah.
that's what it reminds. That's what I think of every time, and I always loved that when you build up to so much and then it just comes down to almost nothing. I love that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. And a build up like that where it comes up and then goes down to nothing is way better than something that builds up and then has a crappy release.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know,
So
if you want to hear about us bitch about build up to a crappy release, listen to last week.
yes, and skip to about the middle. Actually, don't skip. Listen to the whole thing.
Please, for the love of God.
Please. We need everything. Um, but if it'll get you to click on the video, skip to the midpoint when we
I
talk
think we
about
should.
Memphis May Fire. Um,
Yeah.
what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say so. Moving on to appeal to reason, because
Yes,
you know
that's what I was gonna
we still
bring us
got
up
three
to.
more to go here.
We're gonna go way over an hour.
Yeah, and I'm on the East Coast, the Eastern time zone, so it's an hour later for me.
Sorry.
Yeah, whatever. It's my fault we can't do it on Thursday, so I'll take what I have.
Yeah, totally your fault. I totally didn't also have plans for Thursday, and let you think it was your fault. That'd be shitty.
Oh well, now you're the asshole.
I am an asshole.
I told you last week I couldn't do it on Thursday.
I know. I actually found out shortly after that I wouldn't be able to do it on Thursday. So it's all good.
Still don't really like you, but
That's fine. I don't really like me either.
all
I'm
right,
kidding. I'm kidding.
all right, oh, all right. Appeal to reason.
Yeah.
2008. It was a
All right.
cold year.
God damn it. I love this
It
album
was
also.
dark. The clouds rolled in. Yes, it also phenomenal album.
Hmm.
I'd say at least on par with Suffering Witness.
Definitely close for me. It's really
I
good.
feel
This is
like
another
this
one.
one has more. This one has more that I'm less keen on, but the high notes hit just as high.
I can agree with that. I think this
Like,
one's much more protesty.
yeah, I think this is where they started shifting into like, here's our message kind of thing.
Yeah, because there's a lot. Like just you just look at the titles and it's like collapse post America. From Heads Unworthy
Yeah,
is the crown slips from Heads Unworthy. Um, Reeducation through labor. Like it's just every song is like yeah that sounds like
yeah, long forgotten sons.
yeah
Yeah, but like,
Strength to Go On has the whole thing about them breaking into your home while you're gone, kind of a thing.
yeah, yeah.
But it's
But
I
just
go ahead.
yeah, but just we were saying with Suffer and the Witness, the high notes hit just as high. Long Forgotten Sons, Rage Against Through Labor, Dirt Whispered, Heads Unworthy, Audience of One. I think probably one of my top five favorite songs of all time.
I was actually going to say the same thing. I love that song. That was a good angsty high school song.
Yes, that was the angsty high school song
It
for me.
really yeah, definitely. I used to
That right next to I Hate Everything About You by Three
mhm,
Days Grace.
yeah,
Those
it's
were like the pinnacle.
yes. And like I
But
remember
also
getting
Hero of War
God
and
damn
Savior from the album.
it.
This lag thing, it's gonna be a pain in the ass sometimes, but we gotta deal with
Yeah,
it.
we tell you, man, we got to get a studio.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, anyway, you go first.
I said what I needed to say. I just talked over you.
All right, I'll mute myself for some shit. Um no, I remember uh when I was at like when I got my license. I remember driving in the car just with Audience of One like as loud as it would go, you know? Is that was good stuff.
Yeah.
This whole album just like oh, so awesome. Um shall we keep it moving here? Do you have anything else you want to say about Appeal to Reason?
Um. No.
All right. That brings us to the 2011 album Endgame. Another one that I
Uh.
think we could gush over for like 30 minutes alone.
Um. I wouldn't put this one up as high as Suffer and the Witness or Feel the Reason.
Really, that actually surprises me. I thought this would be. I thought you would enjoy this one more.
Um. It just didn't have as many high up points as the
Oh,
last two did.
I gotcha.
Like,
Um,
there's no like Audience of One or Prayer of the Refugee off of this album to me.
gotcha. I can understand that. I still think the whole album's just so good though. This is another one that every song on it I actually enjoy.
I will give it that. There isn't a song on this where like if it comes on, I'm gonna always skip it.
Yeah. I although one thing I did notice listening all the way through, um, if you listen to the end of Architects and how it flows into Help Is on the Way, and tell me if it sounds disjointed, because I was listening and Architects ends with like this droning like wah, and then it cuts and starts Help Is on the Way, and it was so jarring. I didn't notice it when I listened to it way back when it came out, but I was sitting there this weekend because I was listening to the whole album in a row, and it threw me for such a loop. I was like, wait, excuse me? And I went back to Architects, put it to the end of the song, and listened again. And I was like, that's so weird.
I didn't notice that, but I think again it's probably because I listened to like the Spotify mashup of like Silent Song
Oh,
of the Counterculture, Suffer and the Witness, Appeal to Reason, and Endgame all together. So
gotcha.
like there was a very low probability of me listening to those back to back.
That's fair. Yeah, I went through the whole discography like front to back, and so it was an interesting experience. But this album is really solid. I really love This Is Letting Go, track 11.
Yeah, this is letting go is pretty good. I really like Survivor Guilt, but I like our version of Survivor Guilt we did for our music video, which is also up on the Talkin Tunes channel. If you want
It's
to check
on the
that out.
channel because this is an unused YouTube account from 2011 probably.
Yeah,
Actually,
because
I think it was 2012 or 2013.
I think it's probably 2013 because we graduated in 2014.
Yeah,
So it was second semester of junior year, which would have been
yeah.
2013.
That was yeah. Everyone should go watch that because that's a solid music video. But we had so
It
much
is.
fun doing that. So Survivor Guilt definitely has a special place in my heart. Um,
Yeah.
but
And for those of you who haven't heard the actual song and just watched the video, the one minor edit that we made is the like newscast that goes on in the middle during like the softer breakdown. Um, the newscaster voice is something we edited in, which I think makes the song infinitely better.
Yeah, I really like that we did that. I thought we did a really good job with it. Like I still watch it and I just like giggle. It's so
Yeah,
fun.
because that was also kind of the same thing they did with Make It Stop, right? Where they had the names in the background.
Yes, maybe that's
Like
that's probably where we got the idea thinking back to it.
probably,
Cuz we were all about this album back then. Like we listened to it a lot. I remember you and I would play this in the car all the time.
oh yeah. And if you do watch that video and you want to figure out what we look like, I am.
No, let them
The,
guess.
oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Comment below which one you think we are.
There you go. That sounds good. Um yeah, that was a lot of fun. So Survivor Guilt definitely is up there. I really like Satellite also. Um, but it's not. I don't know. None of the other songs are on the level of like Suffer in the Witness and like Ready to Fall, Prayer of the Refugee, and that kind of stuff. They don't quite get up there for me. Even though I really like all of them.
Yeah, it's again it's another solid. They're all good, but nothing like steps so far above that it raises the whole thing for me.
Right. I can agree with that.
Yeah, it's kind of the same feelings I have towards the black market.
Yes. Let's talk about that now, because we're really pushing our time.
Yeah, we try to
That's
keep these
fine.
things about an hour, and we may have to briefly skim over Blink-182.
Well, what we might have to do is talk about, or we'll have to talk about bands with smaller discographies, or limit ourselves and not talk about an entire discography in one episode. But bear with us while we figure this out, because this is all new to us. So hopefully it only gets better.
Hopefully,
No promises. So Black Market. What do you think?
um, on the level of Endgame for me, possibly slightly above. I'd say
Oh,
it's
really?
between. I'd put it between Endgame and Suffer and a Witness Appeal of Reason.
Okay.
Not like directly in the middle. I'd say it's like the first third, closer towards Endgame.
Ah, gotcha.
But this one does have, I'd say, one tragedy plus time is the one that sticks out to me.
Yes, that's actually what I was exactly what I was gonna say too. I
See,
love Tragedy plus Time.
we're we're just the same person here.
Are you making the hand motion? You know the we're vibing head motion.
Maybe, I don't know. It depends what the word
All
vibe and
right.
hand motion is actually. I scratched the back of my head if that's what it was.
No, that's not it, but that's okay.
Anyway, yeah,
Yeah, Tragedy plus Time is just phenomenal. I really like that song a lot.
yeah. Fun fact: helped me get through my last serious relationship breakup.
It's a good song. Good song for that.
It is, yeah. It's yeah, because it's true, right? Comedy is just tragedy plus time.
Hmm.
I can laugh about it now, but it sucked then.
I think we all laugh
But
about it now.
you just got to be holding on to laugh again someday.
Yes, that song just like every time it gets me like I feel it in my heart. Um, Also on Black Market that I like, I really like People Live Here actually, even though it's a little slower, a little more boring. I really enjoy it.
That one I'm not as keen on.
No,
I'd
I mean that's
say
fair.
I'd say the other one that I like is Methadone.
Methadone's pretty good. Overall it's a good album. I would actually agree with you that it's a little better than Endgame. I think.
Yeah, like I said, the middle, the first third above Endgame, between Endgame and Suffer in the Witness Appeal of Reason.
Hmm. It's really hard though, even still, to rank the albums because I definitely have like Suffer in the Witness and Appeal to Reason. Well, you know what? Let's cut it off there. Let's talk about what our favorite album is. Or do you want to
Okay.
talk about one song, our favorite song off each album first?
I think favorite song off each one, and then
Favorite.
overall favorite. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Let's start. Well, so Black Market, work our way backwards.
All
What's your?
right, sounds good.
Well, this is stupid. I think the answer to Black Market is pretty obvious for both of us.
Tragedy plus time.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
no, no question.
that's a pretty easy one. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, moving backwards to Endgame. What's your favorite?
Um, hmm. If I had to pick one, it'd be between Survivor Guilt and Make It Stop, and I'd probably have to give it to Survivor Guilt.
I got you. I would actually pick This Is Letting Go personally.
Okay, okay, I could see that.
Hmm. A little more
I
upbeat.
wouldn't. Yeah, it's a little more upbeat, which I know you prefer. Um, I wouldn't necessarily put it in my top three, top five of the album, but this is why we discuss these things.
We actually beat each other up over it later.
Yeah, actually, as soon as we hit stop, we just fucking go at it.
Yeah, just scream at each other.
A little behind the scenes.
Yep. Oh, there you go. I'm waiting for the day someone's like, so do these guys actually like enjoy each other?
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
that's that we could talk about for an hour, but
that that's a good point. All right.
appeal to
Keep them
reason.
guessing. Appeal to reason. Uh, I'll go first. Oh no, we know the answer. Audience of one.
Yeah, audience
Really,
of
you don't
one
sound as
with
confident as I thought you would be.
audience of one with Savior is a close second. I paused for a second to consider Savior.
Savior is really good. Um, but I wouldn't put it above Audience of One.
That's why I called it a close second.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Um, now I think Suffer and the Witness is where we'll start to differ a little bit.
Suffer in the Witness, I think, is where we might get into a little bit of fisticuffs.
Ooh, I don't know if there's fisticuffs. I mean, I think I know what yours is. You go first.
You think you know what mine is?
Yeah, I think I know what yours is.
All right. Luke, I don't know. I don't know if you do.
Okay, go
All
for it.
right. Mine is The Good Left Undone.
Oh shit, I did not see that coming.
Get fucked. I knew you didn't. What were you gonna
That's.
say?
I was gonna say Survive. Oh, what was I gonna say was yours?
Yeah.
Prayer of the Refugee. I thought was going to be your favorite.
Just because the OG doesn't necessarily mean it's the best.
No, that's fair. I really thought it would.
I
And
just
I
like
guess no, go ahead.
it's like just because the original doesn't mean it's always the best, and I think The Good Left Undone has a lot more of that sound that I'm looking for at A Rise Against. I think
Yeah.
if you would have asked me, you know, closer to when I first started listening to it, which my favorite one was, it was Prayer of the Refugee by a mile. But as I've kind of matured, and even when I'm listening to the kind of music I listen to now, kind of back influences what I've listened to in the past. That might have also shifted it. Though I do have to give a special shout out to Survive. That's another one of those. Got a lot of personal meaning.
Yeah. I was gonna say my favorite off this album is actually Survive. Um and I was,
The clean or
similarly
the
to you.
explicit version?
The explicit version. Don't tell my parents. Um no, that song has a special place in my heart too. It's just so good, and it was such a good song, like especially back in high school when you're busy, you know, being angry at everything.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, it is so good. But I have to give a shout out to Ready to Fall because it, it's what got me into Rise Against in the first place.
Yeah, I believe Ready to Fall also on the Guitar Hero after Guitar Hero 3, the one that tried to be Rock Band but failed. World Tour, I believe is
World
what it's
Tour,
called.
yes, World Tour.
That was like one of the three good songs
Dude,
on
we could
that
talk
game.
about rhythm games for a whole hour.
Oh shit, maybe that's next week.
We'll see. We have to talk about it still. This is the downsides of being early is that we haven't discussed everything yet.
Yeah, but
Um,
we have a little bit more time to research.
yeah. Um, all right, and then we're gonna go back to Siren Song of the Counterculture, and then we'll stop there because there's no point in having the discussion after that.
Yeah.
Um, what's your favorite off Siren Song of the Counterculture?
Swing Life Away, hands down.
I I have to admit it's a tough choice, but I would actually give it to Paper Wings.
Over Swing Life Away.
I think so, yeah.
Fair enough. Um, I can't be mad at you for making that choice. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
That's fair.
Uh, no, but I think if you would have said any other one, I might be a little, "What's wrong with you?" But Paper Wings, I wouldn't be upset about. I'm not upset
Yeah,
about that.
it is seriously really close. The only reason I give it to Paper Wings instead of Swing Life Away is that Paper Wings is more Rise Against, and as much as I love Swing Life Away, it's it's not quite it's not quite their sound, but
True.
it is easily one of my favorite songs of all time.
Yeah, but like we talked about last week, my favorite kind of music is the hardcore bands that do acoustic stuff. So that might also
Yeah,
be part of
that
my opinion.
would be an influence there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then to finish up the Rise Against block, what would you say is your favorite album of all of them?
I was say we could try to do on the count of three. We both say it.
All right, let's do it.
It's gonna be horribly off sync, but we'll give it a
No,
shot.
we did our sync up countdown at
All
the
right,
beginning. It'll be fine.
all right. You do three, I do two.
God damn it! All right, three,
Two.
one. Suffer in the
Suffer in the
Witness.
Witness.
Hell yeah.
That came out exactly the same time in my head.
Which means it was wrong. If it lined up, it was incorrect. Um, no, Suffer in the Witness, hands down. I mean, admittedly, Appeal to Reason gets pretty close, but it
That's
is,
the only other one that would give me pause over Suffer in the Witness.
yeah. Um, and I to sort of wrap it up, I really hope that some of the new things that are going on really encourage Rise Against to release another album because they pretty much don't need to write anything. It's pretty much written itself for them.
Exactly.
So I'd really like to see something else from them. And um, I touched on it a little bit earlier, but you know they have such a heavy amount of albums released during the Bush administration, and then um, Endgame and Black Market came out during the Obama years, and um, you see there's like a I don't want to say a delay. There's a less saturation of albums during that time, and so I'm hoping that having someone in office that they strongly disagree with. Well, I assume they strongly disagree with. Admittedly, I don't know for sure, but I would be very surprised to find out that uh, Rise Against considers themselves uh, Trump
Conservative.
supporters. Yeah, um, I really hope that we see a lot more from them because they're just so good.
Yeah, and I hope they're at the point, with seven pretty successful albums. I hope they're at the point where when they do release the next one, it's not to make money. It's because they love what they do and they just want to release one because they love making music together.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because that's
Um,
always when a band is at their best, right?
Absolutely. We'll see what happens. Um, yeah. All right. I think we avoided the politics for the most part. We didn't
Yeah,
state
that's
any
it's
opinions.
it's on you, not me.
Yeah, that's fair. I just wanted to bring it up. I just think it's an interesting thing to note. I'm not leaning any direction on the spectrum. I want to make that abundantly clear. Um, let's move on to our final. Oh God, we're at an hour and 10 minutes.
What
Our final topic for the day.
quick wrap up of Blink 182.
Yeah, let's talk about Blink 182.
Um, I enjoyed it much more than Green Day.
I also really liked it. And
I'm also I've also
if
never
I
really been
God damn it. You go first.
I've also never been a Blink 182 fan in the past, really.
Yeah.
Um, now that's not really because I tried and couldn't. It's because I didn't try. But I think listening to this might make me want to go back and listen to more of their older stuff just to like see,
Hmm.
give it potentially the old college try.
Yeah. And we talked about it earlier when we were talking about Green Day, but Blink 182 is before our time by a little bit. Like my older brother listened to Green Day a lot. Or sorry, not Green Day, Blink 182 a lot. And so there's just like that sort of generational gap. I shouldn't say generational. We're not generations apart, but you get what I'm saying. Like there's there's that gap there that we just were a little too young for it. And the new album's actually really good, and I was hesitant, and you know that well because when we were talking about it, I was like, the only thing I'd seen was the new music video,
for
and
for Bored to Death.
for Bored to Death, yes, I should specify that, and I really like Bored to Death. The music video is about a bunch of high schoolers, you know, like basically causing trouble, getting into trouble, and being bored in school, and I was
Being
like
high
these
schoolers.
being high schoolers, yeah. And I was like, these guys are 40. And I checked on Wikipedia. They were all born in the 1970s, and I was like, I it really was off-putting because I was like, I feel like at some point they should have transitioned away from that,
It,
and
it's
clearly
it's
they didn't.
what made them successful. So why not stick to it?
Yes, and so and admittedly, like this is my own fault. I made an assumption, and you know what happens. And so we talked about it last week. We were like, yeah, let's talk about the new Blink 182 album, and I was like, yeah, fine, I'll listen to it. It's really good. It's like phenomenal. Maybe not phenomenal, but it's
I
solid.
wouldn't call it phenomenal. I'd call it solid.
I really enjoy it. Their harmonies though are on point.
They are on point.
They are so beautiful, and they're really easy to hit. Also, in
Are
case you're
they?
wondering, yes,
Well, next time we
it's
see each other,
yeah, dude.
have a sing sesh.
Yeah, we'll have a sing sesh. It's like really nice. They are so easy to hear. It's it's a lot of fun to listen to actually. It was a good album, and I kind of only listened to the hits from Blink 182 before this, but I think it'd be a waste to not go back and actually listen to uh like their actual albums before that, rather than just like what's my age again.
Yeah, I will say this also about Blink 182. One of my favorite album names of all time. Take off your pants and jacket.
That is doesn't sound. Enema of the State is pretty good too.
True,
Yeah,
but I enjoy Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
that's fair.
It's a fun name. I'm excited to
Yes.
listen to it.
I don't know. Blink 182. That's a solid pun. Why?
What's the story behind their name? I think that's the question you were just about to ask.
Well, actually, I was gonna ask why is the album that they named after themselves, their fifth album. But we don't have to talk about that. I would be curious to know what. Did you find it? Where the name comes from?
Um, the name Blink was thought up by Tom DeLonge when the band consisted of Tom, Mark, and their friend Scott Rayner. Before Blink, they called themselves Duct Tape. They were forced to change it because an Irish electronic artist was already using that name, so they added 182 to the end.
Clever.
Doesn't necessarily say why they chose 182, but
It said, according to Wikipedia, the band appended the meaningless number 182. So yeah, either way, I mean, it was really solid, and I think we'd be missing out if we didn't go back and actually like sit down with uh their albums and give them a listen.
true.
Yes, and I feel bad that I did not give them a fair shake right off the bat. That'll teach me.
How dare you?
I still think it's a little weird though. Like, can we just like can we admit that, or is that just me?
Yeah, I will acknowledge the fact that men in their 40s singing about high school problems is a little off-putting, but it shouldn't detract from the fact that their music is pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's a really solid album. I really enjoyed listening to it. I actually liked it a lot more than I liked Revolution Radio. So
All right, I think that should about do it for the week.
yeah, that's the punk rock block.
Punk rock block. Are you
Fuck
gonna
the
outro
man.
this bitch or what?
Oh, let's no. You know what? I'm gonna stay as long as I want because that is my right. No, also I want to
All
go
right,
to
well then
bed.
I'm just gonna
So
leave.
no, that's fine. So um, thank you for listening, guys. We're having a lot of fun doing this actually. So I think we're gonna keep going. Um, next week we have a couple ideas. We're talking about that was a weird sentence. That did not feel right coming out of my mouth.
No, it
We
really
were
didn't.
discussing the possibility of having as a topic um, bands that we think we want back. Whether that means that they're gone or they had a significant change, or um, maybe if like a certain band member left that we think the bands would be better uh, with having back. So that's one possible topic, or maybe rhythm games. Although, we'll see. We'll see what the future brings. So let us know what you think in the
If you
comments.
have any suggestions for anything you'd like to hear us discuss, leave a comment.
Yeah, we're more than open to suggestions. This is all new to us, so thank you for bearing with us while we work out all the technical bugs and while we get our feet under us, because turns out talking between the two of us for an hour and 20 minutes straight is not as easy as it would seem, especially when we talk over each other. But we're having a good time with it, so we're gonna keep going. Kevin, do you have anything to say?
Um, it's just if you enjoyed what you hear, keep coming back because we'll keep coming back.
Sounds good. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely.